Welcome to Brain Friends, where two neuro nerds talk all things aphasia, language recovery, culture, and community. I am Dr. Dictrina Celeste Gatson, a clinical speech-language pathologist and neuroscientist.
And I am Angie Cauthorn, stroke survivor and aphasia advocate.
Welcome to our show.
Welcome to Brain Friends.
We want to thank all of our listeners for downloading the podcast. We appreciate everyone listening, so please tell a friend to tell a friend that we are here.
And we are.
Hey, Angie.
Dr. Celeste, hey, what's going on with you?
How are you?
Look at us in the house.
We are recording live right now in person. So excited. And we have a special guest.
We do. It's my baby.
Hey, hi everyone. It's my first time. Be gentle. All right.
Hit him with the Ed Evans.
All right. Well, go ahead and introduce, and then we'll get into an icebreaker.
We got to do them icebreakers.
Yeah.
So, but everyone, I would like to introduce Mr. Charles Kiehl Cauthorn, my husband and my care partner. And today we're going to be talking about the life of a care partner and why that's important and the difference between care partner and a caregiver. Mr. Charles Cauthorn, will you say something nice to the people?
Hello everybody. My name is Charles, but I go by Kiehl. I take either one. It doesn't matter. Just don't call me late for dinner. But there we go. I am honored to be a guest on the podcast. Of course, I've seen and heard this podcast since the conception, and I've just been waiting my time. So I am ready. We're going to do this today. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Let's get into an icebreaker. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Let's start with Angie.
All right.
Would you rather be invisible or be able to read minds?
I'm going to go with invisible. Because if I'm invisible, I can hear what you're saying. So I don't have to read your mind. I'll know what you're saying. Okay?
Okay.
You ain't going to be hiding nothing from me. And I'm in here like, like, I'm out.
I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Okay. Mr. Kiehl. And I just want to say the spelling of your name is Kiehl.
Correct.
Okay.
Not the
other way.
Right?
Okay.
And the reason why is because of the American pronunciation versus the European pronunciation. My name is German.
Oh, I was born in Germany.
Oh, see, here we go. This is going to be all right.
Wow. Okay, yeah. What about you? Would you rather be invisible or able to read minds?
I think I would rather be able to read minds. Because at that point in time, I could tell. Usually, you can tell what people are thinking by their nonverbal communications, the way they fold their hands or something like that. But a lot of times I'd rather read the mind to know exactly, you didn't mean that. This is what you meant. And to know exactly truly what you're trying to convey here. So I would rather read the minds.
Okay. And what about you?
I agree with Mr. Kiehl. I would rather be able to read your mind. I low-key feel like I can already, but I think it might be the energy. So I can tell kind of like if the energy is off and I think if we get close enough, then I can naturally start to read your mind.
So you want a vibe check?
Yeah.
You check the vibe at first of all, how's the vibe at the crib?
The vibe at the crib is nice.
Okay.
It's the feng shui is amazing.
Welcome to Morristown.
Yeah, so I'm in New Jersey, y'all.
We doing this here at the live. We at the Cauthorns. Doing Brain Friends.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited to talk about caregivers today or care partners. And so I guess maybe let's start off by me asking you, Kiehl, do you consider yourself a caregiver, a care partner, and, a care supporter? What do you consider yourself? And then if there's a difference between them?
Okay. All right. I started off with considering myself as a caregiver. And as this journey has happened for me in the past, it's been 7 years, come next month, I consider myself now a care partner. And what was interesting is knowing that when we were going to do this today, I wanted to define the differences between the two and then come up with why I feel that I'm a care partner. So, you ready for this, for me to go down that pike? Or
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So I did check and ask for the definitions of what is a caregiver versus a care partner. And the definition comes up as a caregiver is an individual who provides assistance, support, and care to someone who is unable to fully care for themselves due to age, illness, or disability. Caregivers often help with activities of daily living, such as bathing, dressing, feeding, and medication management. They may also provide emotional support, companionship, and help with household tasks. Caregivers can be family members, they can be friends, or hired professionals who play a crucial role in ensuring the well-being and quality of life of the person they care for. That's a caregiver. That's a tall order, but a care partner is just as tall. So a care partner is similar to a caregiver, but emphasizes a more collaborative and equal relationship between the person receiving care and the individual providing support. A care partner recognizes the importance of mutual respect, communication, and shared decision-making in the caregiving process. Unlike a traditional caregiver, a care partner acknowledges the expertise and preferences of the person they are caring for and works together with them to develop and implement a care plan that best meets their needs. This approach promotes a more inclusive and empowering dynamic where both individuals actively participate in the care and support process. I am a care partner.
Okay.
Yeah, you are.
Do you feel like you shifted? Well, I guess you said that you shifted from being a caregiver to a care partner. And is that because Angie improved?
That's a good question. Very good question. I have to say yes, through the grace of God, Angie improved, and our journey, we worked well together. But it also leans to the fact of our relationship to each other. So it sort of helped me to know that I needed to help her and in those different aspects that needed it. So I would say becoming that care partner was also part of our journey to be where we are today.
Mm-hmm. And then Angie, you jump in because, you know, I've got a list of questions.
Well, my thing is when I first had the stroke and I was kind of, I want to say waffling, but I was all over the place. The most calming thing was to know I could count on him in a way that I didn't have to worry about anything because I knew I had a partner. I was married to a man that could carry that load. Mm-hmm. And that's just a tremendous weight taken off of me. Like I often talk about the time he was helping me get into speech therapy, and it was hard for them to make time for me at the doctors. It wasn't being scheduled. And we were in the Wawa parking lot, and he just got on the phone and was like, no, that's not right. And he works in the insurance industry. Mm-hmm. And that really helped him and also he went to school to be an SLP at first. So, you know, right. Him and Charles Ellis would have been hanging out. You know, everybody thought he was Charles Ellis at a conference.
Really?
They kept thinking he was Charles Ellis.
Shout out to Dr. Charles Ellis at the University of Florida.
Yeah. What's up, Dr. Charles?
Well, you mentioned something that I want to know, Kiehl, how did that play a role? You know, the point that you did have the background knowledge in insurance and your level of education, how did that play a role for you to be able to advocate for Angie? And do you feel like individuals that may not have that background, is it more challenging for them?
I think it is more challenging for them because what happens here is, you know, from the insurance background that you're going to need certain levels of therapy, not only speech therapy, but also occupational therapy, and those type of things that need to connect. The one thing about the insurance company or insurances is that insurance companies usually give you a limitation of how much you can have, how many weeks for occupational, how many visits for therapy and speech and occupational therapy and those type of things. But you also need to know that depending on the type of plan that you have for the medical insurance, it always makes a big difference as to how much or what the level of benefits that you are going to have. So to have that knowledge was important to us, but for those care partners or caregivers that are there who do not have that knowledge, there sometimes is a aspect where they're thinking of, well, I don't know that, and I can't do that, so I'm just going to give in. But the answer is don't give in. The answer is to keep pushing forward and always know there are the three therapies that you need: the occupational therapy, you need the speech therapy, and you also need physical therapy in reference to making you whole again, or at least as close as you can be.
Mm-hmm. How can caregivers support a stroke survivor with aphasia in improving their communication skills? Like, what did you feel as though was the most helpful thing that, I know what I think was, but what would you say is the most important thing that you did to help me within my communication skills?
Let me see. First thing and foremost was to listen. Now, when we went through your onset for the stroke, aphasia kicked in and the language was not there. But the communication was within your nonverbal communication of things that you were trying to say. So I had to learn how to listen to you and be patient and also trust that we would know and know where to go and how to go into your therapy sessions. So listening is the first and foremost, and to be patient. That's the one thing that I did learn in reference to that. Being patient was the biggest thing and the hardest thing, because you always want to talk to that person and try to help them through their communication and their words and what you're thinking that they're trying to say. And it became important then because as I wasn't being patient at that point, you became more frustrated. So I had to learn to come back off of that and trust that you will communicate and I will be able to communicate non-verbally with you and know what you're trying to say. Listen to that and know that I can now communicate to the practitioner and say what you mean. Because they're hearing the same thing I'm hearing. The words that you're trying to say, they don't know exactly what you're trying to say. They don't know the connections of what you're trying to say. So that becomes important at that point for the care partner, the caregiver, to stop, listen, be patient, and trust.
I like that. Stop, listen, be patient, and trust. Mm-hmm. In that, Angie, what are some of the things that you felt as a survivor you had to trust your partner, your caregiver to do for you? Besides, maybe like taking care of you or, some of those activities of daily living, mm-hmm. but like just you showing up, what were some of the things that you had to trust that he was going to have your best interest?
Everything. I had to relinquish it all. And that was hard. That was really hard for me. Just based off the A-type personality that I was born with. That was really hard for me to just give everything over. But I am in a position that I have a partner that I can trust, that I know is smart enough to handle everything and be able to say, okay, I mean, but I really didn't have a choice. So the fact that he could was a bonus, but my options were nil. So to be able to trust and know that, and just say, okay, well, even when it was things like I wanted to do things and he would say, honey, I don't think you should do that. I would say, okay, you know what? I want to trust that you're telling me the right thing, that you wouldn't tell me not to go to the store if I shouldn't be going to the store. Like, you're not going to tell me not to go shopping unless there was a reason you really thought I shouldn't be going shopping. And I do trust you enough to take your word for it. So that gave him he's in charge. But it was definitely a shift. And
because normally you're in charge.
I don't,
Well, let's wait a minute.
well, you know, I mean, okay.
Now I gotta leave here. So.
I get stirred in the pot and getting on 295.
A-type.
No, it was definitely a definite shift in that way of how we would communicate with each other. And even when the doctors couldn't understand anything for me, I could always look at him, and we were always well connected to be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kiehl, what advice would you give to speech language pathologists, SLPs, in helping the caregiver as well? And I ask that in the frame of sometimes if individuals have severe aphasia, so like your global or your Broca's aphasia, then therapy not only treats the individual, but it also, the responsibility of the SLP is to work with the family as well. And so in my experience, sometimes it could be challenging because the family, is there with the individual 24/7, where I'm only with that person for an hour. And so do you have any advice for SLPs?
Yes, I do. There are two flavors to that particular question in that answer. So to the SLP, the practitioner, know that these people that walk into your office that have just had the onset of stroke, and also their family caregivers or care partners, this is a brand new world for them. They do not know what's next. For the survivor, their mind is still in a free fall in reference to what just happened to me. For the care partner, caregiver, they're also in that same free fall as to, oh my God, what's next? What do I have to do? I got to make sure, I got to protect, I got to do this, that, and the other. So to talk with the actual practitioner, SLP, or neurologist, or whoever the practitioner may be at that point, is to explain to them as to, I need to know how I can help. What I did was we had homework. Angie would bring home some homework.
Homework. See, that's what I be telling y'all about that homework. Sorry.
Wow.
Right?
But the point was, though, to the person who's the survivor, they have to remember that you're in building blocks. You have to start off slow, and then you can run. And in Angie's aspect, it was sort of, she did not want to be, she's like, I can't believe that I'm not reading well, or I can't add arithmetic, etc. All escapes me at this point in time. And I'm not reading and taking that book home that says that I can't add 1 and 1 equals 2. For the caregiver, care partner, it was my responsibility to say, honey, let's try this, and then you get the actual part where the survivor says, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm really embarrassed. I don't want people to know that. And it's up to us to continue on, maybe stop pushing right now and come back to it. That's been my mantra for a lot of times, is there's always another way, or sometimes there's always another time to ask. So be upfront with the practitioner, SLP, let them know what you're going through so that they can make their program to address you and also the survivor.
That is excellent stuff, babe. And I will also say I remember when we were to our first time in how we were in tune, and we saw a couple that wasn't. And tell the story, honey. You see I'm struggling.
Well, I'm being patient and waiting for you to say, okay, you can do this thing. That's how this works.
See, that's good.
That's how this works. I'll let you to it.
I actually like that though, because oftentimes one of the things that I have coached caregivers in is not finishing the sentence of the person with aphasia.
Right.
And so that's so beautiful that you waited for her to, say, okay, help me out.
Yes. So Angie and I found out through our SLP that there was a aphasia work group. And our first onset was like, we're not going. And Angie said, I don't want to go to anything like that. And we decided, well, maybe let's just check it out and see what it is. So we went there. And
he took off work and took me.
Yeah, I had vacation time. And there was no vacation time other than you are my vacation. Let's do this. But we went there to the work group. And in that work group, there was a new couple that came, and this gentleman had just came out of the hospital, had bad aphasia. His wife was there, and he was trying to say things, and he kept looking to her, and she sort of, and I call it my connection, she sort of was not connected just yet because it just happened. I figured it out with Angie that there are a lot of times that I can follow her path and know what she's trying to say at that point. But to other people, it takes time. And it is really disheartening when you can't figure out what your loved one is trying to say at that point. So that was a work group that definitely helped us because there were other people there that had the same thing going on, but we were to the point where everyone's at a different level. But it was a work group where we could feed off of each other at that point in time. So that was one thing to say. If you can find a work group, go to it.
A support group.
A support group. Go to it.
Now, not to get in y'all business, but one of the things that I sometimes hear is the part of the frustration with individuals in the household is that you go from a 2 household income to a 1 household income. And, you had mentioned taking vacation. One individual still has to work, one individual is in recovery. How did you guys navigate that? Was that something that was a challenge, just that shift in household dynamics?
You want to take it?
Yeah, absolutely. You do.
All right. It was definitely I had just made it to what I call the high stakes medal round of my I had just got there. And luckily for me, and I will support this and tell people all the time, get the extended insurance that your job provides. You gotta, it's so important. Disability. Long-term disability is saving the day up in here, okay? Because we had good credit and I knew how things worked. So, we just locked everything down and we made sure that we didn't overspend, and we really took a look at our finances to put ourselves in a position that this wouldn't completely collapse us. But between long-term disability and having good credit makes a lot of things easier in the way that goes.
Now, just to add to that, though, from a care partner's perspective, it was important to know that, oh God, everything that you handled, now I got to handle. And I have an analogy that I use, and still to this day, is that sometimes I feel like a spring. And when you have a spring and you put a ton of bricks on it, eventually the spring gets used to the weight and the bricks start to rise up off of it. And that's how I look at life at this point. So Angie having this episode at this point was that ton of bricks that hit us. And eventually, as I started to picking up all the pieces and being able to handle not only the work, but yes, the bills, the things that are going through financing, at that point in time, it was a lot, and it still is to this point. So I don't want to make anybody think that it's easy. It is not. But it's just something that you finally get used to when you start to work with it, and it becomes part of life, and you make it. Yeah. And you stay one with God. There's the answer.
Yeah. And I used to do the bills, and then he calls it nonsense because I had all these passwords that were up under that were up under my blotter under my computer. And it was just all these passwords, and I knew where everything was. But then I had to kind of just off everything on him. So he made an Excel spreadsheet, and he calls the file nonsense.
I have to change that file now. So
I know now that.
Well, I mean,
your password, honey.
Right, what's your password, honey? No, but it was those type of things, and then all of a sudden I can't read, so now I'm not helping with the mail. I can't. Those type of situations definitely put us in a different category.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, I just want to ask, Kiehl, do you have anything else that you would like to share from the caregiver, care partner perspective?
I say yes. There's one thing.
I say yes.
I say yes. There's one motto that I've always used with Angie, and I think it's a nice analogy to people to take a look at and think about, is you are better today than you were yesterday. And you will be better tomorrow than you are today. Have faith and move forward.
Wow, I feel like that was the benediction.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Wow, say that one more time, though. You are better today
than you were yesterday.
And you will
be better tomorrow.
And you will be better tomorrow.
Than you are today.
That's beautiful.
I'm the luckiest girl in the world.
Yeah. How long have you all been married?
This June will be 25 years.
25 years? That quarter piece.
Yep.
Wow. And then I take it that I know where you gave the benediction, but do you feel like your closeness of your relationship helped you also navigate this?
I say absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. He's my best friend.
We were friends, best friends, and we're still best friends. And that's what it's all about. You take your best friend with you all the way.
I want one too. Not that.
Wait a minute.
Here come Kiehl.
Oh, sorry. Just edit it out.
That's so awesome. All right. Well, Angie, do you have anything else?
I think we're good. As for also, I will say this. My care partner, which is my husband, I have my friend Tay, which has been insanely helpful to him. Mm-hmm. So shout out to Tay and how helpful friendships are absolutely important. Definitely go back to episode 4. What about your friends?
Right. And we call ourselves the bubble.
Will they stand around? Will they let you down? Okay, the bubble.
Okay, right. So the bubble is, tell them about the bubble.
Well, the bubble are the people that are around you that will help you through everything that you need and will protect you from those that will not help you.
I love that.
The bubble.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so your friends are important. And when the care partners are dealing with the practitioners and speaking for their person, there may be a friend that kind of comes and hangs out and does the important work. That's maybe, like when my hair was looking crazy, Kiehl would say, listen, can you come help her with her hair? And Tay has a joke where she's like, it's not about the hair, I'll come get her. Right? Because it really wasn't about the hair. He was like, will you come get your girl, please? Aww. Will you please come get your girl? And so those type of things are so important. And, people tend to discount it, but it really can't be discounted. It's really important. And I just want to say on my on our podcast. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome, baby. Anytime, anywhere. Let's do this.
Well, thank you all for inviting me into your home, and I'm just so excited for this opportunity to share the importance of caregivers and care partners.
Yeah.
All right, and I thank you for inviting me to share my experience.
You know you done muscled your way in here.
And there will be things,
We'll have you back. We'll absolutely have you back.
All right. Bye.
Take care, guys.
Peace,
Thank
y'all.
Oh, and also I just want to thank so much. Well, Angie, this is your house, your home, but we have an amazing setup here. Lights, camera, action.
One, and my man Tim Shepard, my friend from like 1982. And he took my wedding pictures. Like, we go back.
Well, and he took some pictures of us too that we've been using for promo. So
Listen.
everybody needs them a Tim.
Get yourself a Tim.
Get yourself a Tim. Part of the bubble.
He's definitely Johnny on the spot, and that's my boy. So
Yeah. Thanks, Tim. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Brain Friends. Please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite streaming platform. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Brain Friends, the podcast.